Hi everyone, welcome to my live creative time today. My name's Mandy Witherby from Mandy's Papercraft Creations, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Sydney, Australia. Welcome, welcome. It is great to be back with another week of crafting. I have got a really cute card to make with you today using one of the brand new stamp sets from Sale-A-Bration, and I think you're really going to love this one. It's a beachy sort of inspired feel. Now, just before we get crafting, I am going to just bring this live up on my other devices so that I can make sure I see all of your comments. So bear with me while I bring that up, just while people are jumping on and getting their notifications that I've gone live. As you're coming in, say hi, let me know that you are here. It's always great to chat and craft with friends, so thank you for being so much for being here. Okie dokie, I'll just refresh my computer screen over here. Mute that. Oops, did that mute then? Yes, it had. Okay, and bring that up. Okay, excuse me, got a little froggy there in my throat. Hey Rose, how are you? Lovely to have you here with us today. How are things with you and how was your weekend? Let me know. We had fairly nice weather here over the weekend. Saturday I spent the afternoon with my team, or some of my team, in our monthly team gathering, so that's always lots of fun, and we recognise the team's recognitions for the previous month and all of their achievements and lots of exciting things, and we have prize draws, and then we have a creative time together. So that was really lovely, crafting with the team in the afternoon. We were just working on our own projects this month. Sometimes we have demonstrations where one of our team members will demonstrate a project, or sometimes they'll do mystery stamping or something like that. But this month we just brought our own projects that we were working on. So that was great. Everyone was working on different things. And we were chatting as we went along, so it was really lovely afternoon. And then yesterday, so it's I haven't posted as much this year, but last year I was posting a lot about our peaches, because our peach tree is has gotten so big, and we had so many peaches last year. We had about between 800 and 900 peaches last year. It was crazy. Some days they were dropping off the tree and we were getting 80 a day, falling off the tree, up to 80 a day. It was crazy. We could not keep up with them. We had to throw out so many of them. John gave the tree a big pruning after last year to cut it back a bit, and to cut back a bit on the fruit so that we made sure we were getting quality fruit. And this year we're not getting quite so many, but we've still got quite a lot we haven't been able to keep up with, so we've been giving some away to family and friends. And then last night I did a little bit of jam making, and my jam turned out beautiful this time. Look at that color. So it is peach and pineapple, because it needs the pineapple for the pectin and the citrus in it, not the citrus, the acid. But look at the color this year. It turned out beautiful. Last year I had my first attempt of making jam since I was back at school. Back in 1984 was the last time I made jam. But last year I overcooked it a little bit, and it went a little bit caramelized and quite sticky. I mean, jam is sticky, but it went really thick and sticky and was hard to spread. But this year it's beautiful, and I sampled some last night and it was so yummy. So I got a few jars of that out of all the peaches, and that was I used a kilo of cut peaches. That's without the stone, of course. So a kilo of the fresh fruit, and then a couple of cups of pineapple, and then a whole stack of sugar. So yeah, so I'm really happy with how my jam turned out this year. So I'm very excited for that. So I'll have some more of that probably for afternoon tea on some rice cakes or something. Yeah. Hi Patricia, how are you? Lovely to have you here. Patricia says, wow, that's incredible. I love peaches. Would love some good ones in Alaska. You're all the way from Alaska. Oh, it's so lovely to have you join us from there. Very nice. Do peaches grow in Alaska, or is it too cold over there for peaches? I'm just wondering what sorts of things would grow over there with the colder weather. Peaches over here are growing, well, our peach fruits in the summer. So January is usually our big crop. And then we've got citrus trees which fruit in the winter. So we've got peaches for the summer and mandarins and oranges and lemons in the winter. So it's really good. And then we have veggies usually in the summer, autumn and spring, but our veggies don't really grow in the winter because our veggie garden, with where it's positioned, it gets shaded in the winter. So not much really grows there in the winter, apart from the good old mint, which seems to just keep sprouting itself everywhere all year round. So yeah. Oh, too cold over there for peaches. Oh, such a shame. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that would, we are very blessed with a good climate here in Australia, I have to say. It can get quite cold in the winter, but not as cold as what it does over there. Well, at least in my part anyway. Obviously, in Australia, being such a big country, there's different climate depending on where you are situated in Australia. But I'm just out of Sydney, so in New South Wales. I'm in the western suburbs of Sydney. And we get very hot in the summer and very cold in the winter, but not to the point of, we get frosts in the winter, but not to the point of snow. So, hey Cheryl, how are you? Lovely to have you here. Oh, Rose is stewing some nectarines to have them for breakfast during the winter. Oh, lovely, fantastic. And are they nectarines that you've grown on your own trees, Rose, or are they ones that you've bought? That's my next thing, is to stew some of the peaches as well, because we've still got a whole stack. I've got 4 big bags of them in our fridge outside. That we've got an extra overflow fridge, which we have out in the garage, and that's whatever we can't fit inside. That's sort of our storage fridge. And I've got 4 big bags of peaches that I've popped out there to stop them ripening any further until I can get to them to stew them. So that's my next job. And also, Amber found a recipe the other night for peach sorbet. So she's going to make peach sorbet this week. So that'll be really, really yummy. So can't wait to have that. Yeah, so lots of different things. I might even make, I think I've nearly finished my gluten-free banana bread. I've had some of that frozen. It usually lasts me a few weeks, but Amber's done some baking in between and I did some other baking in between. But maybe I'll make some little peach muffins or something. That might be nice, some little gluten-free peach muffins. That's what I should do later in the week. Peach muffins, they sound yummy. So low cholesterol, of course. I will use my low cholesterol ingredients to make sure that they are okay for me to eat, because yes, I have high cholesterol now, so I've been working very hard to get it down. And I don't know when I next get blood tests to get it checked again. I think it might be March. It was it September, October, November, December, January, February, March. Yeah, I think around about March I'll get my blood tests again to check to see. Hopefully it's come down, so then from then on I'll just have to be careful what I eat. But yeah, but I've still been able to eat yummy things, so that's been good. And lots of healthy things. So yeah, it's been good. All right, well, so Facebook still hasn't reinstated the mirror imaging on Facebook Live. So if I hold anything up, it's going to be back to front. As you can see on my jam jar, it's probably showing up back to front. Is that showing up back to front? I think it is. So all of my promos and everything, I'm going to show down on the desk today, because otherwise you'll be seeing everything back to front. And you won't be able to read anything, so that'll be annoying. So I'll show you down on the desk. So feel free to keep chatting with me, ask any questions that you might have as we're going along. the project I've got to share with you today, I'll show you a quick little sneak peek. It will be back to front, but I'll give you a quick little sneak peek of what we're creating today. We're creating this cute little card today. So I've got lots of techniques on there to share with you today, and it's using one of the new Sale-A-Bration items, which is one of the free stamp sets that you can get with qualifying orders depending on the country that you are in. And you'll see it back to front, but this is the stamp set we're using, which is the Friendly Seagulls. And in Australia, this one is free at the moment during Sale-A-Bration until the end of February with a $100 order. Oops, I just put that down on top of my blocks and it was sticking to all of my stamps. So that's what we are going to do today. We could practice our mirror reading skills. Yes, definitely could, Patricia. And you love the seagulls. Awesome. Well, I hope you'll enjoy the card I'm sharing today, and a few different techniques as we go along. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tip the camera down onto the desktop. Now, it's an additional transition at the moment because we don't have the flip screen. So I have to actually physically take the camera out of my stand and turn it over so that I'm using my back cameras. So let me get that ready for you, and then I'll share with you what I've got to share with you, and then we'll get crafting. So bear with me. I'm going to cover up my camera just to alleviate any motion sickness that anyone might have, and I'll get this all set up. Bear with me a moment while I get this ready. Here we go. Oops, I just got to undo that one as well. There we go. Now you hear some squeaking and clunking while I just tighten up all of my clamps to make sure my camera doesn't fall, because it does tend to like to slip out. All right, so, oh, there we go. You get to see my roof. Okay, that came off the camera. There we go. It just slipped off. I need a new washi tape. There we go. All right, and then we'll flip. There we go. And then we'll go down a little bit closer. Okay, and adjust the lights. I nearly forgot about the lights. That's important. That's an important step, isn't it? Because otherwise you can't see everything. All right, so let's see if we can just get that straightened up for you. How is that looking? How's the camera looking? Is that looking fairly straight? I'll just give it a little tweak here. Oh, that's actually not too bad. I'll just move my keyboard. And, oh, did I just make that more crooked? I think I did. It was nice and straight, and I think I made it more crooked. Hang on a sec. Let me just fix that. It's a bit hard with the camera flipped this way. It's a bit hard to see to line it up. Usually when, yeah, my other orientation that I usually have when Facebook isn't doing silly things, it's really easy to line it all up, but it's a bit trickier this way. So there we go. I think we got it. I think we have got it. Now, what am I seeing here? Oh, the mouse. Is that the mouse? Just move that out of the way. There we go. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to share with you my upcoming classes, and I've got a few coming up. Oh, the camera still isn't quite straight. Anyway, ignore that for the moment. We'll fix it in a minute. I've got a few classes coming up. So I've got one coming up next Saturday. So if you are local, if you're in Sydney, or if you're visiting Sydney and you'd like to come, registrations for my February card buffet are closing today. Actually, they're closing tonight at 9 p.m. and I have one spot left. So if anybody is local and would like to come along to my card buffet next Saturday, I've got one seat left. So you'll have to get in quick and register and pay for that today. So you'll register and then I'll send you an invoice, and then you pay on the invoice. So we can get that done today. And I'm just going to double check to see that nobody else has registered that I have missed. Because just as I'm saying that I have one spot left, I'm thinking, oh, probably should have checked that. I did check last night and there was still one spot left. I'll just go into my registrations here. Yes, okay, good. Yeah, so there is still one spot left for that one. Okay, so in a card buffet, we have a range of different designs of projects. You can choose 4 of those to create on the day. And then if you want any additional ones, you're welcome to purchase additional kits if you wish to, but 4 of them are included in the class price. We have a lovely afternoon tea together, and we have a lovely time of community, really, just sitting, chatting, enjoying friendship, enjoying getting to know other people, and it's just lots and lots of fun. So yeah, so feel free to come along if you are, or feel free to register, I should say, if you are if you're in Sydney. All right, so that one is coming up next Saturday. Then my next one after that is going to be a scrapbooking workshop, and we're going to be using the Everyday You and Me scrapbooking workshop kit that you can find in the January scrapbooking brochure. So if you want to check that out, you can find that online. Ask me if you want more information, but there's a little sneak peek here of the layouts that we're going to be creating. It's going to be a 4-hour class. I did one of these classes towards the end of last year, and 3 hours just wasn't enough. So it's going to be a bit longer for this scrapbooking class. It's going to be a 4-hour class. It is on Saturday the 22nd of February. We're going to create 3 2-page scrapbook spreads. That's what's included in the kit. Basically, you're paying only for the kit. I'm not charging you for postage of that kit to me if you're attending the class. But yeah, basically you're just paying for the kit, and everything you need comes in the kit apart from obviously your adhesives, any additional ink you need or anything like that. But I will have inks and things here if you want to do any extra inking or things like that. So yeah, we'll have afternoon tea again, of course, and registration for this one closes on the 7th of February, which is this Friday actually. So I sent out the advertisement for this one last week. It went out in my email, it went out in my on my Facebook page, and I'll pop up the advertisement again this week too. So yeah, so if you're in Sydney or you're visiting Sydney, you are most welcome to come and join us for that one. I still have seats available for that class, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So of those 3 double-page layouts, it depends on how quickly you work through the kit. The instructions are all there in the kit. You can change it up as well, as much as you like. So if you don't like particularly the layout of the kit, or there's some aspect of the instructions of the kit or the layout designs that you don't like, you can change them up to your own taste. You can add to them, you can alter them, whatever you like to do with them. So it depends. We have 4 hours in the class, so depends on how much of that you get done in the class, and what you don't get done you just will be taking home with you to finish at home. So yeah, so it's a fun one to join in on. Hey Glenda, how are you? Lovely to have you with us today. Thanks for joining us. Hey Jenny, how you going? Oh, it's hot down in Tassie today. Oh, okay, just sprinkling the birds to make them a bit cooler. Oh, that's so lovely. What sort of birds do you get in your yard there, Jenny, at your place? Yeah, I actually haven't stepped foot outside today to see what the temperature is like. It was sunny earlier, but it's come over a little bit overcast now. But Amber said it was warm out there, but I haven't set foot out there yet. She's been taking the puppy out today for toileting and so forth. So anyway, so that one's the next one that's coming up. And then my last February class for the month will be a Wednesday class, so a midweek class. So if you are someone who is looking for something to do midweek, if you're not somebody who is working full time and you'd like to get together and do some crafting with some other lovely ladies, then my Wednesday classes might be for you. And sorry, I'm just tweaking my camera as I'm talking to you. So Wednesday classes is something new I'm doing this year, and each Wednesday class will be a little bit different. And for February, we're going to be doing creating with ephemera. So we've got some of the beautiful new ephemera from the new mini catalogue, and we're going to be creating some beautiful cards with that. So we will have 10 cards. Hang on, I've got to fix this camera. It's bugging me so much. It's just so crooked. I can't handle it. No OCD in this house. Yes, so we will have, you will get product in this class. So you're going to get your own ephemera, you're going to get your own cards and envelopes. All of that is included in the class price. There'll be enough cards and envelopes to create 10 cards, plus you're going to have a lot of ephemera left over to be able to take home and create other projects as well as the 10 cards. Now, you might not get all 10 made in the class, depending on how quickly you create them, but yeah, you might get through all 10. We'll have some samples on display for you, so you can copy those samples, or you might like to do your own thing and just with your ephemera pack that you get as part of the class, you might like to do your own thing, and that's totally fine too. So that one is going to be on Wednesday the 26th of February, and this one is a morning class, so it's 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. well, morning to afternoon. Goes for 3 hours, but starts at 10 a.m. finishes by 1, and registration is also by this Friday, the 7th of February. So be sure to register for those. Now, my website is there. You can go there to register. I forgot to say that on the other two. You can go there to register, but I am also, do you have the direct links? Yes, I was just about to put those up. Thank you, Amber, for reminding me. I do have the direct links for each of those classes. I am going to put them, just going to copy them over into the comments now. And wait, let me just see how they're coming up there. Yep, okay, so I've got each of them there. I'm putting them into the comments right now. There we go. And if you're watching the replay of this video over on YouTube, and thank you to all of my replay warriors, I forgot to say that before. Thank you all so much for those of you who come back and watch my videos. If you're watching over on YouTube, I will put the links in the description under my Linktree link. And for those of you watching back on Facebook, you can get my links directly from my details up at the top of the page. And then I advertised these last week as well. So if you just scroll down a little bit, you'll see the direct links, but they're also here in the comments, so you can get them there. So there's the different links for the different classes. You should be able to see them now in the comments. Hopefully they're coming through. I can see them on my end. Hopefully they're coming through. Are they coming through? For all of you. I put them in one. Let me know if you can see them. I'm seeing them. Yeah, just let me know if you can see those links. Jenny says we have Avery birds. Oh, that's right. Now I remember. Indian ringneck cocktail peach lovebirds. Ringnecks cocktail peach lovebirds. Are they the peach face lovebirds? Masked lovebirds, princess parrots, kakarikis. Oh, I haven't heard of them. New Zealand, and plus wild birds like rosellas, wattlebirds, blackbirds, sparrows, cockatoos, and too many to say. Oh my goodness, so many birds at your place, Jenny. Wow, including your Avery birds and the wild birds as well. Oh, how beautiful. That's so lovely. We've been getting some, we've had the cockatoos around for a while, which I'm kind of thankful for. I do love cockatoos, but I love them from a distance because they do cause quite a bit of destruction. And we've had black cockatoos here, and Callie is petrified of them. So I'm glad that they have not been back around, because she is so scared of the big black cockatoos. They're just too big and scary for her. I think they're probably bigger than her. And we get the sulfur crested cockatoos, but we also have been getting not rosellas, oh my goodness, what are they called? Rainbow lorikeets. We've been getting rainbow lorikeets every so often coming by, so that's been really lovely. I love seeing them. But mostly we get the pigeons and the peach faces. Yes, okay, that's what I thought you meant, Jenny. Yeah. I used to breed peach faces many years ago when I was a teenager. They were so beautiful, robust little birds too, aren't they? They were quite easy to breed, the peach faces. What are the other ones? We get sparrows and magpies. We get magpies, so we don't like the magpies because they swoop, and I know a lot of people do love magpies, and I did rescue a magpie way back when I was a teenager and I had aviaries and things. I actually rescued one that was injured, and I rehabilitated him and released him again once he was able to fly. I can't remember what I called it. Maggie, I think. Was it Maggie? Anyway, but yes, but they swoop Callie and they swoop us now, so we don't really like the magpies coming around because they nest in our area. We've got a lot of big trees around here, a lot of big gum trees, and yeah, they nest, and so they get a bit territorial. Anyway, so last thing I want to tell you before we move on, of course, we've got the new mini catalogue, which I think most of you would be familiar now, unless you are new to my channel. We have the brand new mini catalogue. We also still have the annual catalogue, which is still running. There are so many beautiful new products in here. I've been having fun playing with some of those. But we also currently have Sale-A-Bration running until the end of the month, till the end of February. And during Sale-A-Bration, you can choose so many beautiful new products in this brochure for free with qualifying orders. Now here in Australia, the qualifying order is, the minimum qualifying order is $100. So once you reach that $100 minimum amount, then you can choose a free product, and that will come up in your shopping cart when you go through to checkout, and you get to choose what you like from the products in this brochure, one of which we are using today, which is this one, the Friendly Seagulls. It's free with a $100 order. You can see that at the top here on your brochure. In here also, if you are placing larger orders, there are a couple of products available for orders of 200 and over. So it's the heart-shaped bundle, or you can choose the Corner in Bloom, or you can choose 2 of the level 1 items, which are the ones for free with the $100 order. So you can choose any of those 2. So depending on what your order is, but for those of you who would like the best value is the join offer. It's always the join offer because you get so much added value. So when you join, anytime you join Stampin' Up, the usual price for the starter kit, if that's what we call, when you join, you get to choose some product, and we call that the starter kit. You only pay $169, but you get to choose $235 worth of product that you choose. Anything that's current you can put in there, apart from the Sale-A-Bration items. You can't put them into your starter kit, up to the value of $235. Now during Sale-A-Bration, you can also have 2 additional options. So option 1, which is the most value, is this one here. Stampin' Up will automatically give you the Handmade Designs stamp set, which I have right here to show you. It's a red rubber cling stamp set, and you can get that one. Stampin' Up will give that to you for free. It's got some great sentiments. It's even got a little handmade by stamp that you can stamp on the back of your cards, and then you can write your name on the line there. It's got these great open detail or line art detail stamps that you can then use your coloring medium for, and it's designed specifically to work with the Stampin Write markers, which we're going to be using today. This isn't all of them. This is just some of the colors I pulled out. That's as many as I could fit into my pencil tin, but we do have a Stampin Write marker for every color that we offer, apart from the white. Apart from the basic white, we don't have one for basic white, but we do have a watercolor pencil for basic white. So you get the stamp set, and then you get to choose 2 of the color families in the Stampin Write marker set. So you get the full 10 markers in each pack for each of the colors in the color range. So you might like to choose the subtles and the regals perhaps, or you might like to choose the brights and, oh, sorry, that's the regals. Oh no, that's the neutrals, the brights and the neutrals. Or you might like to choose the subtles and the brights, whichever 2 you like. You can choose, and you will get to select those when you join. And as I said, Stampin' Up! Already throws in the stamp set for you. So you can color the designs on this stamp set using your brand new markers. Now the markers are fantastic for if you don't have all of the ink colors as well. So if you don't have all of the ink pads, the classic Stampin' ink pads in the color range, the markers are a great substitute because you can do so many different techniques, some of which I'm going to show you today in our project. You can use different coloring techniques. You can use your markers directly on your stamps to color your stamps, to stamp colored images, to stamp your sentiments. Lots and lots of different techniques you can use with the markers. So they are awesome. And if you want to have all of the colors, then the markers are a great way to go. Anyway, so the total value of those additional items is $162. So when you add that on to the value that you're already getting in your starter kit, that's a total of $397 worth of product, and you're only going to pay $169. So you're getting $228 worth of product, which is amazing, for free, that is, for free. Plus then you'll get free shipping on that, and you'll get an ongoing 20% discount so long as you are with Stampin' Up. You'll get that 20% discount. There's no lock-in period. You can leave at any time if you decide that it's not for you. You don't need to give back your starter kit. You get to keep those items. There's no exit penalties or anything like that. And you get to become part of my wonderful team, my beautiful crafting community. We are called the Paper Craft Gems because I do believe that everyone is precious and valued, and that's why I call them the Paper Craft Gems, or the Gems for short. And we would love to have you come into our beautiful crafting community and join us for all of the fun that we have together. And you can be as active as you like, or you can stay in the background. We have a combination of different people in there. Some are very, very active, some are more quiet and stay in the background, and it's whatever you want to do. I'm happy to help and support you. Now, that is the first option, of course, but there is an option 2, which you don't get as much value for, but it's still a good option if you wanted to choose additional product of your own if you didn't want the markers and the stamp set. You can choose option 2 instead and get an additional $51 worth of product. So if you add the $51 on top of the $235, you're getting a total of $286 worth of product, and you're only going to pay $169, and you'll still get free shipping on that option as well. So they are the options. There is a QR code there. You can open up photos on your mobile device, and you can scan that join here QR code, and that'll take you straight through to my joining page. So you can join. I'll hold it up a little bit closer just so that you can get a good scan of that. So yeah, you can scan that and join straight away. But if you've still got questions, or you're unsure of things, or you'd like more information, feel free to get in contact with me and ask me any of your questions, and there's no obligation in doing that too. Just because you ask questions doesn't mean that I'm expecting that you will join. You just might want a bit more information, which is like me. I always want all the information. So that's all about Sale-A-Bration. So how about we get onto our crafting now? So So there you go. So I hope that you found that information helpful. Oh, also too, I'll just mention about joining. I had somebody recently say to me, because I had somebody, a customer who was putting in an order, and I said to her, it was a large order, and I said to her, you realize that you could get more value and you'd be paying a lot less for that order if you purchased the starter kit. And she's like, but I've been with Stampin' Up before, I didn't think that I could do that. So I just wanted to let you all know that if you have been with Stampin' Up before, you can rejoin. It's not just a one and done deal. Like, you can rejoin if you've been with Stampin' Up before. So yeah, so just know that is all okay, and that is allowed, and we would welcome you back. Actually, we love to have you come back. So, all right. Now we are going to be looking at, as I said, the one of the freebies in the Sale-A-Bration brochure. It's on page 6 if you have a Sale-A-Bration brochure and you're looking for it. It's on page 6. It's called the Friendly Seagulls, and it is a really, really cute stamp set. I've been seeing some great projects made with this stamp set, and so I thought I'm going to pull mine out and I'm going to have a play too and try to do something a little bit different. So this is the project that we're going to be making today. It's really cute, very, it had to be a beachy scene, of course, because we've got the seagulls. And in case you didn't notice, at the beginning of the video, when I had the camera forward facing on me, I actually have, and you'll have to take note at the end when I flip the camera back up to say goodbye, I've got my my starfish earrings and my starfish brooch on today, because I don't have a seagull brooch. I do have other birds, but I don't have a seagull brooch, but there's shells and things in here too. So I thought, oh, well, I'm going to wear my my starfish brooch, because it's kind of in keeping with the theme today. So we're going to be using a little bit of technique in here. Now we are using another product as well. So let me just show you what we're using. So we're using the Friendly Seagulls, which is our focus for the card, but also we are using the Bloom Impressions Designer Series paper for the background. So believe it or not, those clouds in the background, that's actually Designer Series paper, and it's from this set here, which you wouldn't think it was when you look at this Designer Series paper pack, because they all look florally. And guess what? This is also a free Sale-A-Bration item. So this one is on page, let me find it, there it is. It's the Bloom Impressions. It's 12 by 12 inches Designer Series paper. When I first saw it in the catalogue, I thought, oh, okay, that's 6 by 6 paper. And then when it arrived, because I didn't read this really closely, and then when it arrived, I'm like, oh, it's actually 12 by 12. So, and it's free with a $100 order. So there you go. So I got that the other day when I placed my most recent order, and I'll show you how beautiful these patterns are. Now this really pretty paper, this is the cloud paper that we're using on the other side. So it's like a water colored piece in Azure Afternoon, which is one of the blue colors that we have in one of the blue Stampin' Up colors, but you would never know that that's on the back of that paper. So pretty cool, hey? Because sometimes you see some of the patterns on some of the Designer Series papers and you think, wow, they're a bit too much, or because like there's a lot going on here. And this one actually reminds Amber and I of one of my shirts. I have a nice top which is very similar, got a lot of different colors like this in it. So this one reminds us of that one. But so I'll show you quickly the fronts and the backs of these beautiful papers. But you'll see that even if you don't like the front, you've got the watercolor backgrounds on the reverse side. So you can do so much with these papers. They're just beautiful. Well, I'll just show you one. I'll just flip one over so you see the front. I love the colors in this one. All the pinks. Isn't that beautiful? So pretty. I think that one is that Lost Lagoon? Let's have a look. It always tells you the colors on your paper packs. So let's see what we've got. Azure Afternoon, Blackberry Bliss, Blueberry Bushel, Coastal Cabana, Daffodil Delight, Flirty Flamingo, Melon Mambo, Peach Pie, Petunia Pop, Pumpkin Pie, and Shy Shamrock. Oh, it's Shy Shamrock. That's the one that is. That's Shy Shamrock, that greeny colour. And then we've got this one. And on the reverse is some more of the pinks. And I think that's, no, we've got one more. Oh, that's the one that we're using today. So that's a full sheet of the one that we're using today. And that's a full sheet of the blue, which I think looks like clouds. Or you could use it as water too. But to me, it's more cloud-like, which is how we're using it today. So there you go. So that is another freebie. So we're using 2 of the freebies today, which is great to coordinate them. And they coordinate so well on this card. So here's our beautiful stamp set, the Friendly Seagull. So we've got the 3 fun seagulls there. We've got the cheeky one with the chips, who's stolen the chips, and who's had that happen to them? Who's had a seagull steal their chips? I know I have. And one day, one of my friends had part of her hamburger stolen from, as we were walking along a street. I think we were even in the city, and there were seagulls because we were down near the harbour, and there were seagulls around, and it flew down and took it out right out of her hand as we were walking along the road. We've got some little fish. We've got seashells. Now these can be used as sand or as bubbles. If you want bubbles for the fish, you could use it as bubbles. We've got a little packet of chippies here. We've got some flying seagulls up here, and we've got some nice sentiments here as well. So we've got French fries and chips. So it depends on what you call your chips. If you buy them from McDonald's, they're going to be French fries. And I know in America, they're often called French fries, but in Australia, we usually just call them chips. So yeah, there you go. And I love you more than chips. Because we love some good chippies. Anyway, so this is what we are creating now. I am using a layout today from the mini catalogue because I'm part of a blog hop design team, and we have a blog hop going live tomorrow. So you're getting a sneak peek today because I'm actually going to be putting this card up on my blog for the blog hop tomorrow. And our challenge this month was to use one of the sketches from the mini catalogue, the new January to April 2025 mini catalogue. Oh, it's not on page 22. That's right. It's on page 12. I think the ones in the annual catalogue are on 22. So our challenge for this month is to choose one of the layouts from the mini catalogue. So I chose to use this layout here with the 3 vertical panels. But because I wanted to use the seagulls, I knew that they wouldn't fit this way. So all I did is I turned my card the other way, but still used that layout, that 3-panel layout. I've got the twine on there, although I have the twine beneath the panels rather than on top of. And my sentiment label, because I didn't have room here and I didn't want to cover up the seagulls, I just put my sentiment label above. So there you go. So that's how you can sort of look at these sketch layouts, get the ideas from them. You can tweak them, change them around, you know. Yeah, it's just, they are a great launching point or launching pad for your creativity. So that's what we're going to be highlighting in tomorrow's blog hop. So you're getting a little sneak peek. Hey Fee, how you going? Great to have you here. Yes, that paper is so pretty, isn't it? It's gorgeous. All right, so I have all of my stamps already on the blocks. This is a photopolymer stamp set, and all of the images on the front are shown at 100%. So that's helpful to know. So I've already put them on my clear blocks. So I've got a whole heap of them here. I've got my kit ready to go. We're just going to use a couple of additional die sets, which I'm going to show you as we use them. So I've got all of my pieces already cut. Now all of the measurements are going to be on my blog tomorrow for the blog hop, so I'm not giving out all the measurements today because they are going to be part of the blog hop. So you'll need to go to my blog tomorrow, and I will post the link up on my Facebook page tomorrow when it goes live, so that you can go over to the blog, you can check out mine, and then you can check out all the other blogs of the other demonstrators who are in the blog hop and see which sketch they used and how they interpreted the sketches, and get lots of great creative inspiration over there. All right, so I'm going to pop my card over here out of the way. I've got, as I said, we're using the Stampin' Write markers today, and I'm going to show you a couple of techniques using the Stampin' Write markers. There's so many different techniques that you can use with these, and I think a couple of weeks ago I was showing some other ones as well, but I'm trying to use them a lot at the moment too, so that people can actually see how to use them in different ways and how versatile they can be, because they are a great tool. Alrighty, so I think what we're going to do to begin with is we will put together these two layers and get them ready. No, actually, you know what? We're going to do our stamping first because I want the ink to dry a little bit before we do our colouring, etc. So these are all of our pieces for, so we'll, actually I need that one for stamping too. We'll put these ones over to the side. That's my little sheet with all my measurements, so we don't need that today. So I'll pop that back in my little baggie. So I'll need that when I write my blog later tonight. Okay, I'm going to bring in a little bit of grid paper. Now I have just cut a grid sheet in half, because normally the grid paper will be that way and it's like A3 kind of size, but I've just cut it in half just to make it a little bit more usable in my space. And we need that today because we're going to be doing a little bit of stamping over the edges of our pieces. We're going to be doing a little bit of blending with our blending brushes, so you need something to protect your work surface. Hey Vicky, how you going? Lovely to have you here today. How was your weekend? All right, so what we're going to do first, I'm actually going to die cut, before I do all of that, I'm going to die cut these 3 panels. So I've got these 3 little white pieces, and we're going to die cut the panels first, and then we're going to stamp on them once they're die cut. Oh, actually, hang on. No, I did actually stamp them first and then I die cut them, that's right. Just trying to remember which way I did it last night. It was very, very late. It was actually early hours of this morning, to be honest. It wasn't last night, it was early hours of this morning. So I did stamp them first, then I die cut them, and then I added the extra detail. So we'll do that. Okay, I am going to be stamping in Memento Tuxedo Black. Now remember, we are stamping with photopolymer stamps, so make sure that you have given these a really good clean before you use them, to remove any of that manufacturing oil, so that your stamp doesn't repel the ink. Otherwise you'll get a bit of beading and stuff on your stamp, and you won't get a clear image. Now when you're inking up your stamp, this one is kind of an okay size. It will fit on the block, but sometimes, so you can take your stamp to the ink pad, not block. You can take your stamp to the ink pad that way and just do a tap, 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 as you see me doing there. Or if you would prefer, if you have a larger stamped image, or if you want to see your image to make sure you're getting a good ink coverage, turn your block upside down so you got your stamp facing up, and just tap your ink onto your stamp and do it that way. Now I've put a lot of ink on that because I've just been talking while I've been inking that up. There we go. Okay, so that's the first little fella, and we'll do the same with the next one. Often with the Memento too, because it's a very sort of more solid linen stamp pad, I like to rub it first and then tap it, which you don't need to do with the classic stamp pads because they're foam, but with this particular one, it's a little bit more solid. There's our second little fella, and then we'll do our third one. I'm calling them fellas, but they might be girls. who knows? And then this little one. And it doesn't matter if they're not all lined up exactly, you know, in a row. I'll just pop them up there for a minute while I clean my stamps. Now you will get, oh, it was a good weekend. Fantastic, Vicky. Did you do something special? So then we give them a little clean. You will get a little bit of staining on your photopolymer stamps, but don't worry too much about that. It's just because the photopolymer is porous, so it tends to hold some of that pigment. Amber thinks the seagulls need some names. Okay, everyone. I think you need to help me name these little guys. Let's start with the one with the chippies, the one who stole the chippies. What do you think we should name that one? Yes, so if you get staining on your stamps, don't worry about it. So long as you clean that surface ink off, it's all good. And then just check them on some scrap paper. Make sure that they are stamping clean. Once you have cleaned them, you know you've got all the ink off them and they are good to go. But with that staining, it doesn't affect how they stamp. Doesn't affect the quality of them or anything like that. It's just that that photopolymer likes to hold a little bit of that ink. It sort of absorbs into it a bit. So, but that's all good. All right, so we've got our little seagulls. We'll pop them to the side. We'll just keep on stamping for a moment and then we'll come back to die cut them and then we're going to add some extra stamping and stuff. We are going to stamp our Hey Friend. Now, with the Hey Friend, we are going to be using, these are the stylish shape dies. These are one of my most used dies. And as you can see, I've got lots and lots of additional pieces in here. Because we're always using them, so we're always cutting extra pieces. I'm going to use the longer banners and I'm using the smallest one of those, or the narrower one I should say of those. I'm just going to work out where that's going to line up on my piece, and you can just use scrap for this because it's only a small piece. And I'm stamping Hey Friend. Now, one thing I wanted to show you, because as I said, we are going to be using our markers today. The Stampin Write black or basic black marker, this one isn't part of any of the color families that are in the sets, but you can purchase the black one separately as an individual item. Let me know if you are looking for it and you can't find it and you need an item code. But you can actually, you either stamp your sentiment in Memento, but with your basic black, it is a great one to use for colouring your sentiments as well. So if you don't have a black ink, which I think most people would have a black ink, that's sort of the one that we start with, but you might want to stamp your sentiment in a different colour. So perhaps you might want to stamp it in an orange. Actually, in fact, why don't we do that this time on this card? Why don't we do this one in orange? Because the birds are going to have orange beaks and orange feet. So let's just do this in orange and see. This is the pumpkin pie orange. Okay. Now, if you are doing two different colors, because of course you can do two different colors, if the ink is on there for a little while, once you've colored it, and I'm using the brush tip. I forgot to say, the markers are dual tip. So you've got your brush tip on one end, and you've got your bullet tip on the other end. Now this is the old style, so this is the old type of tip. They were a little bit problematic. They didn't work so well and they would dry up really quickly, but the new tips on the new markers are a bullet tip. They're like a softer felt tip. They're a little bit broader, but you can get a nice fine line if you go light-handed. If you want something a bit darker, you can press a bit heavier, so that's really good. But yeah, that's the new tip, and they stay wet a lot longer, and they work really, really well. So anyway, if you have stamped used your marker to color your sentiment, often what you're going to need to do, and you might like to, if you're using it to color a stamped image like one of the birds, or a floral image or whatever, once you've put the ink from your marker onto your stamp, you need to huff on it with your breath, because that puts moisture back onto the ink, because it will dry quite quickly on there. So it'll put moisture back into the ink, so then you get a good stamped finish. So I'm just going to huff my warm breath onto there a couple of times, and then you can stamp it. Okay, now when you're using your markers in this way, it will work on photopolymer, but it does work best on red rubber. The photopolymer repels the ink a little bit more from the markers, but it does work, but you will get a cleaner image with the red rubber. Okay, but it just depends on what you're working on. So have a little practice, have a little play around, see what works best for you. It definitely does work. And if you're quick, and if it's a small sentiment like this and you get it colored in quickly before it dries and then you stamp it, it'll probably turn out a lot better. Okay, so that's what the orange looks like. I don't know how that shows up on camera because it's a little bit far away. Hang on, let me see. I've got a scrap here. That's what it looks like using the black Stampin' Write marker. I did that one last night, but I'll show you on cardstock, because often when you're stamping on paper, it comes out a little bit differently to what you're going to get on your cardstock as well, because they have different absorptions in the different paper mediums. I'll just huff on this one. There you go, so that's not too bad. So that's what it looks like in the orange. Okay, and then, so that's what it looked like in the pumpkin pie. That's what it looked like in the black Stampin' Write marker. And I'll show you how it turns out with the ink. Well, it'll just turn out normal with the ink, of course. So just clean that off as you would normally. So we've used the markers, but we're just cleaning it off as you would normally. There you go. And we'll just do that with the ink as we did with our original one. All right, so I'm just lining this up to see where I want my image. I want, my sentiment. I want my sentiment sort of to the right hand end. There we go, of the frame, or of the label. So has anyone got any names for these seagulls? We're trying to name this one with the chips. So he stole the chippies, or he likes chippies. Maybe we should just call him Chip. What do you think? I think that's a good name for that seagull. What are we going to call the other ones? Has anyone got any good seagull name suggestions for our little seagull friends? All right, so we've got that one ready to go. What else do we need? We need to stamp some of the chippies and the extra shells as well. All right, so stamp up ink up the chippies. Okay, we're going to be fussy cutting them. I know some of you don't like fussy cutting. So this is just an added step. You could stamp them directly onto there if you want to, but just you'd have to die cut it first so you know how much space you've got. I'm going to stamp some extra shells in crumb cake. So just put that black away for the moment. Shells, we're going to stamp a couple of extra sets of shells in the crumb cake. There we go. Okay. We'll give that one a wash, or a clean, I should say. Not a wash, but a clean. There we go. Okay. All right, so we'll do a little bit of fussy cutting now. I'll pop those. Oh wait, I've got to do these ones as well. So with this piece here, so just letting our little seagulls dry. With this piece here, we're going to be doing a little bit of inking, but we're also going to be doing some stamping. Before we do that, we're going to be doing a little bit of tearing. So we're going to tear across the top to make the sand. Now, depending if you're left or right-handed, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to I just want to have a small torn piece across the top. It doesn't matter how much you tear, but I'm going to do about a centimetre or so of this piece, and I'm just very carefully doing a little piece at a time so that I can control it. I'm holding the cardstock with my other hand, and I'm tearing with my dominant hand, and I'm tearing towards myself. Now you might want a bit of texture, so you might want to sort of control it a little bit, give it a little bit of, you know, we don't want it completely straight because we want it to look like sand or sand dunes. And even I might take a little bit more off just here to give a little bit of a curve there at that beginning part. There we go. Okay, so that's going to be our sand. So that's using the tearing technique. And we're going to do a little bit of stamping of the shells and some of the sand on here. So let's see. So let's get our shells up the right way. You can turn them up the other way as well. So we're just going to stamp some of these along the bottom. In fact, I'm going to do one there like that. Let's turn it up the other way because, you know, shells lay in different ways on the beach, on the sand. So we'll just stamp them in different ways there. There we go. Okay, and then in between those we're going to stamp some of the sand, and turn that one up that way, and we're just going to stamp some of this sand along here in between. Stamp a little bit of extra there and a little bit of extra there. There we go. So we've just got those stamped along the bottom there like that. Okay, we're going to bring that colour back in a minute, but for the moment that one's going to go away. We'll give these two a quick clean, and then that's clean. That's clean. Just double checking. Okay, good. We're going to do some blending as well, but we're going to do the blending all together. So I'm going to leave that one there for the moment. We're going to bring in our die cutting machine and do our die cutting. So we'll die cut that one and these ones. So we'll just move that right over there for the minute. I'm using my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine today, and we're just going to be using our #1 base plate, our #2 clear plate. I'm going to do the sentiment first, and then we'll do the seagulls. So I'm using just a little bit of post-it label, post-it tape here, and I'm going to die cut the sentiment towards the right hand end. Okay, oh, I'm overheating. I can feel my forehead is sweating and my back is burning. I have to have a sip of water in a minute, but I'll just get this lined up. Now my die has gotten a little bit curly-whirly because I've been using that one a fair bit. Hang on a minute. Let me just give it a very gentle stretch in the opposite direction. Just be very gentle if you're doing this. It depends, because my plates are getting a little bit curly too. This base one I probably need to change soon. But just be very gentle if you are bending them back the other way, because you certainly don't want to snap those dies. That's a bit better, it's sitting straighter now. Certainly don't want to snap them or sort of bend them too far in the opposite direction, as they might break. So just take it easy. There we go. Washi tape that, not washi tape that, post-it note tape that on there. Oh, and it moved because it didn't hold. Hang on a minute, let me get that again. All right, there we go. I was using that same post-it tape last night, so I've probably worn off the I've probably worn off the sticky. Let's just not holding. Stick. Stick. It's like, nah, don't want to do it. Put that on. Put that on carefully. There we go. All right, so we've got one of the seagulls named is Chip. We still haven't got names for the other two yet. I feel like one should be, maybe we should name them after a beach. Who has a favorite beach? Give me some beach names. What are the beach names where you are? Does anyone have a favorite beach that they like to go to? All right, now for the seagull panels, we are using the Unbounded Love dies, and we're going to be using this one here. So this one's got lots and lots of lovely labels. This oval one, this scalloped oval one, we were using for the goodie bag labels actually for my catalogue launch just recently, but you've got lots and lots of different ones here, and it does coordinate with the Unbounded Love stamp set as well. But they are great dies to use for lots of different projects. Cedric. Cedric is a good name for a seagull. It's not a beach name, but it's a good name for a seagull. Yep, I like that. Cedric. Well, this one can be Cedric. Cedric the seagull. I'll put him down there a little bit. Okay, Cedric the seagull. Okay, Cedric, we are going to die cut you. And give you a little frame. Oops. Okay, this tape, I'm going to have to get some new tape. This one is not holding now because I used it too much last night. Oh! So we've got Cedric, we've got Chip, and then we have to give this one a little name. This one, what are we going to call this one? They're very cute. You like that? You like that name, Rose, or you like the seagull? What are you liking, Cedric? What about Percy? Percy? Oh, I feel like Percy should be a penguin. Percy penguin, not Percy the seagull. What about, yeah, Cedric seagull goes really well. Sammy. So that's a good one, Lynn. Thank you, Sammy seagull. Okay, so we've got Cedric, we've got Chip, and we've got Sammy. Okay. Now you'll all have to remember those names because I'm likely to forget. You have to remind me. Oh, the name. You like the name Cedric. Yeah, that's pretty cute, isn't it? All right. Okay, so let's line up this one now. And we will give him a little frame. Pop him in a little frame. When you are using these dies, I'll just let you know, because this one has a straight edge here, whenever you're using any straight edge die, just put them on your plates at a slight angle and it'll help them feed through your machine. Oops, that totally just moved. It's because this plate is so bowed. That's why that's happening. It's just popping up because it doesn't want to sit on, the die is flat and the plate is warped. I need to switch out that plate for a new one, I think. Yes, so always put your straight edge dies just on a slight angle, so that will help them to feed through your machine and you won't get such a big speed bump. You won't get that big bang when it goes through your machine. I'll just keep persisting with this plate, I think, for this last cut, and then I think I'm going to be changing to a new plate for the next project. So that one is just getting too warped, makes it too hard to line up your dies. All right, Sammy, this is Sammy. Sammy, you are the last one, and I probably stamped you up a little bit too high. Didn't I, Sammy? I have to get that die right up. I'll move it over this way a bit, get that right up to the top of the cardstock. Okay. There we go. All right, pop you down at an angle. You only need one piece of tape. Our three little seagull friends. There we go. Cute. All right, so that is all for the die cutting. So I'll move the machine out of the way. And I'll put my dies up there. I'll put them away after. All right, so there's our pieces all die cut. Let's bring back in our scrap paper. And now that we've got these, put them over there. Now that we've got these die cut, we're going to do a little bit more stamping on here before we do our blending with our blending brushes. But before, yeah, I think I'll do my colouring first before I do the additional stamping. So do the colouring first and then we'll do all of the detail. So I'm colouring just with 2 Stampin' Write markers, so it's really, really easy. So yeah, you only need the 2 colours. So I've got Pumpkin Pie and Smoky Slate. So I'm going to just start with colouring as you would normally with any marker. Just I'm going to use the, not the bullet tip, because this is the old style one. Okay, so I think the old, it's a little bit thin to colour what I need. So I'm going to use the brush tip and go very carefully with that. The lids do nest, which is great too. And I'm just going to do the beaks and the feet. Oh, wait, I need my glasses. Just looking down and thought, oh, that's looking a bit blurry. Oh, there is one other colour I needed, which I didn't pull out for the chippies. I'm going to use Lemon Lolly for the chippies. So there's a few different yellows. There's the Lemon Lolly. There's the Crushed Curry, which is a bit darker and like quite a bit darker, and then the Daffodil Delight, that's the one for in between. So it depends on what colour you want your chips to be. But I'm just going to do the beaks and the feet all in the orange, and this is just one way. This is like the basic way of using your markers, just to colour. Okay, now like with most of our colours, that will go on quite dark, but once it dries it'll lighten up just slightly. Do the little beak in here. Now if I had the new style, which are the ones that, because some of my markers I've had for a really long time, and you can see how long they last because this one's still got the old nib on it, in the fine tip. They last a really long time, but the new bullet tips are great for colouring the smaller details. The brush tip you've got to go a bit more carefully with because it's obviously wider, but coloured quite well. Okay, so that's the first way you can use them. I'm going to just colour in the chippies as well, and this one does have the new tip, so I'm going to use the fine bullet tip there for the chippies. Chippies. Actually, we've got to colour this too, so we'll colour these while we're here. So do the yellow chippies. There we go. I forgot about colouring the burger and the, I didn't pull out those other colours. All right, so we need to colour in the packet of the chips too. So I'm going to use the Poppy Parade, and I did the burger bun in Crumb Cake. Here I was saying you only needed 2 colours, and now I'm pulling out all these other colours. And I put a little bit of lettuce there in the green as well, inside the burger with, no, not that one, Granny Apple Green. There we go. All right, so let's do the burger bun. Now let's see, that's my old marker, so I will use the brush tip, and I'm just going to do the burger bun in Crumb Cake. We've got the Granny Apple Green, that's the old style too, but it's only a tiny bit, so I can do that. And then we've got our Poppy Parade. Oops, that's the old style, so we'll use the brush tip to do our packet of chippies, the packaging. So this is just the Poppy Parade. I think I already said that. I'm repeating myself. Just going very carefully. Now we are going to fussy cut this, so if I went out of the lines, like, it's not a major drama. And the reason I say that is just because I'm trying to rush and I'm using the brush tip, which is a little bit thicker. So there we go. Okay. Now with the birds, the seagulls, I was going to call them penguins. I don't know why I've got penguins on the brain. I'm going to do a different technique this time. I'm going to do a watercoloring technique to color in the grey on the wings of the seagulls. So to do that, I'm just going to use a clear acrylic block. So you can use your clear stamp blocks. I'm just grabbing one of the ones, a spare one that I had out of one of the kits, and I'm going to use that as a palette. And then I'm going to bring in my water painters. Now they come, if you haven't seen the water painters, they come in a 3-pack. In the pack you get the wide brush, which is great for doing backgrounds. I have one specifically used for sealing my envelopes, because you know how you get the gum seal on your envelopes, the ones that you have to lick. Well, licking envelopes these days is not a great idea with, you know, transferring of germs and things, and they don't taste great either. So I use one of these wide brush ones for sealing all of my envelopes. So if you receive any cards from me, know that your envelope has not been licked. I always, since COVID, I've always used one of these brushes. It's a much more hygienic way. And then you get the two tips of your normal brushes. So you've got the fine tip and the standard tip. Okay, the standard tip is the one I use the most, I have to say, but the fine tip is great for if you're doing very detailed work. All right, so we're going to use the standard one now. With the water painters, basically it's like using a water brush and a paintbrush and water, only that you don't need to keep dipping your brush into the water because the water is stored here in the barrel. So you unscrew them, and these ones actually unscrew in the opposite way to what you would normally unscrew something. So it's clockwise rather than anti-clockwise. And you just fill it up with water, and then you just screw that back on. Give it a little bit of a squeeze. Now, a tip that I always like to give everybody is when you're using these water painters, have a piece of paper towel or kitchen towel with you, or you might like to use a Chuck's cloth or some sort of cloth, or a face washer or something like that. It will get inky, whatever you use, so just know that. I like to use paper towel because the absorbency is a little bit better. So when you give a couple of squeezes to your water painter to get the brush flowing down through the barrel here and then down into the tip to wet the brush. Now I always like to check it on my hand first, and I can see that this is quite wet. So if it is too wet, then you can dab it off on your paper towel. And you can use your paper towel as well to clean your brush between colors. All right, but we're just using a single color this time. So I'm going to use the gray. What I'm going to do is scribble the ink, and this is a great use of your Stampin' Write markers. I'm going to use the brush tip. I'm going to scribble it onto the block. Now, because this is a light color, you're not really going to see it very much on the block here. But with a deeper color, you would see it. Scribble it onto the block, and then I'm going to use the water on the tip here to pick up the color. All right, and now we've got watercolor. All right, isn't that easy? It's a really easy way of watercoloring. Now, one tip, normally if you are watercoloring using a lot of water, I would suggest stamping your image with the Stays On ink, okay, because it is water safe. So if you're adding water to it, it's not going to bleed, okay? But we have stamped with Memento ink. Oh, also too, if you're stamping with Stays On, don't use Stays On your photopolymer stamps. It's not, Stampin' Up! Does not recommend using Stays On photopolymer stamps, because to clean the Stays On ink, firstly, it's a solvent ink, Secondly, to clean your Stays On ink off, it needs the proper Stays On ink remover or Stays On ink cleaner, which comes in a liquid, which Stampin' Up does sell, and it can break down the photopolymer over time. Okay, so it's not recommended that you use Stays On the photopolymer, but it is very safe to use it on your red rubber cling stamps. Okay, so just a couple of little tips there. So we used Memento because we stamped in photopolymer. It is a water-based ink, so when you add any water to it, it's going to dilute it. It could cause it to bleed. So my suggestion is don't have your brush too wet and only use a little bit, only do a little bit of watercoloring on your image. I wouldn't do a large image when using Memento because you will get a bit of bleeding. Okay, but for the seagulls, it works because we're just doing a little bit of, and the other thing is too, because we're doing grey on black, if it bleeds a little bit, you kind of don't notice it because it's black and grey, you know, it's in the same sort of tones. But there's just a few little tips on watercolouring and the right sorts of inks to use. Now, if you're stamping with the classic Stampin' pads, they are also water-based. So just beware with those, but there are techniques that you can use with the classic Stampin' pads, the water-based inks, to actually use the water to blend out the stamped image. So there are techniques that can be used that work with using the classic Stampin' pads and watercolor. Okay, so there you go. So that's our first little seagull. So that's all we're going to do on him. Now you do need to keep topping up the ink from your marker onto your block because this has already got water on it from my watercolor. You're getting a technique class here now, guys. Because I'm using water and there's water on my block, I'm going to dry that off first before I add any more of my marker because I don't want to put added water onto my marker because it'll dilute the ink on the marker and it could also affect the tip. Okay, so just make sure you dry that off either with a tissue or a piece of paper towel or a cloth before you add some more ink. All right, we'll pick up some more of that ink. We're going to colour just the wings of our seagull. A little bit on his tail here. I'm just going to do a little bit of shading around his belly and up towards his chest a little bit, and then we'll do the other wing. And it just adds a little bit of colour, and you know that seagulls have, you know, they're usually grey and white. Okay, so that's how you can just add the colour really softly. Now you can use your Stampin' Write markers directly. I could have used my Stampin' Write marker, my Smoky Slate Stampin' Write marker directly to my image to colour it in, but you're going to get quite a bit of a darker finish. Oh, mine is getting a bit low actually. Mine's drying out. Oh, that's probably why it's not coming up very much on my block because it is actually drying out. But you will get a heavier, this isn't a very good example because this is nearly dry. You will get, yeah, a heavier coloured image, but yeah, you love watercolouring with ink, Lynn. Yeah, it's a great technique, isn't it? It's really fun. I love watercolouring. It's one of my favourite techniques. Okay, so that's why we're not getting much ink on here. So I should have checked that on paper first, shouldn't I? Oops. Well, that's okay. We've got some other greys. I could have used one of the other greys as well, but we would have got it a bit deeper. But I actually like the colour that this is coming out. It's not too heavy. It's not too dark, and it's, yeah, I like how it's turned out. So, but I will have to replace that colour at some stage. All right, and we'll just add some here, some colour here to his chest and down towards his belly. There we go. Okay, so that's our little seagulls coloured. So that was pretty quick and easy, wasn't it? Now to clean my brush, I'm just going to squeeze a bit of extra water, let the water drip down through the tip. You can see that there, and then I'm just going to brush that backwards and forwards on my paper towel, and that's how we clean the water painters. They're really, really easy to clean. So you can do that watercoloring technique with any of your Stampin' Write markers. Now I'm just going to clean that block properly off now with a baby wipe. Oh, have my baby wipe sitting there a little while. It's gone a bit dry. I might give that another wipe over with my chamois after, just to give that a proper clean. Put that up there. Okay, so there we go. So that's just a couple of techniques that you can use with your markers. Now we're going to do some extra stamping on here. We're going to bring back in our crumb. Oh, actually, we'll start at the top and work down. We're going to, whoa, don't want to drop that on my stamped images. We're going to stamp some seagulls. Oh, actually, this time I wasn't going to stamp the seagulls in black. That's right. I stamped them in black on my first one, and then afterwards I'm like, oh, they're a bit heavy. I'm going to stamp them in smoky slate. But if you don't have smoky slate, you can stamp them in black, how I did on my first ones. So see the little seagulls in the background here, I stamped them in black, which is sort of in keeping with the outline of the others anyway. But I thought, no, I think I will try smoky slate this time. Okay, and we're going to stamp some up here and down here like that. And then this one is just going to have some coming in that side, and this one some coming in from that side. Or we might stamp, let's just stamp another one. Hang on, let me get my head in there. Just stamp another big one up there. There we go. Okay. So that's done, and then we're going to stamp some of the sand and the shells down the bottom here in the crumb cake. So we've got our sand, we've got our shells. We're just going to stamp the shells. Let's see, I'm going to stamp this one up that way, and this one's going to be on this side. There we go, and then I'll stamp it again, and I'm going to turn this one up. Oh no, I wanted it that way this time. I'm going to stamp this one on this side. There, like that. Oops, stamp that one off a little bit further, but that's okay. And then we're going to fill in with the sand. So just take that all the way over to the edge. This one is going to have sand all the way across because we're going to add the chippies in there. Just going to add a little bit more up here. This one over here. Just fill in there a little bit. And are we happy with that? Yes, I think that will do. I think that will do fine. Okay. Oh, I'll leave that ink out. We're going to use that. Alrighty. So that's all of our stamping. Now we are going to do a little bit of ink blending. So I've got some of the blending brushes, and I'm using the large one and the, some of the small ones. When you buy the blending brushes, they come in a set of 3, whether or not you're buying the large or the small. It just depends on, you know, what you like to use. And I find that the small ones come in really handy for more detailed and finer work, or if I just want to concentrate the color just in sort of one section. So just let that dry for a second. I'm going to use the crumb cake first with my crumb cake brush, and I'm just going to blend. So just tap off a little bit of excess ink first, and I'm just going to blend a little bit of color over these ones that I've stamped here that I'm going to fussy cut. The reason that we tap off is so that we don't get big blobs of ink, and we've got more control over the color. because otherwise I'll show you over here. If I didn't tap that off and I started using it, see how you get the big heavy blobs there like that? So if you just tap your brush off, or just give it like a little scrape off first on your paper, you get a smoother finish like that. Okay, so that's good. They're ready for fussy cutting. All right, so we're going to colour in the bottom here. We're going to go over these. Now, if you don't like fussy cutting, you don't need to fussy cut over the top of these shells. You can just leave them as they are. The reason I actually went over the original ones and layered them up was because actually I tried doing watercolouring on these stamped images before I had added the extra ink. I tried doing watercolouring on here and it bled a lot, and I lost a lot of the detail of the shell. So what I did is I just did this that I've just done here, and then I fussy cut them, and then I just added them over the top and mounted them up. But they kind of looked good anyway. I liked it with them mounted up. Just gave a little bit of extra interest to the card. But if you don't like fussy cutting, then just leave out that step of adding them. They're not actually too hard to fussy cut because they're not intricate shapes. They're quite solid sort of shapes. Okay, so we'll just add a bit of colour there at the bottom. Now you'll notice too, because I'm not always tapping off this time, because I'm starting my circular motions off the page or off the piece that I'm colouring, and then I'm bringing it in. So that also takes off any excess ink first onto the scrap paper. Sorry, move up a little bit. So it takes any of the excess ink off first onto the paper before I bring the brush in to the piece that I'm colouring. Okay, so just go over their little footsies. And that's just going to give us a little bit of sand colour here at the bottom, just so that it's not stark white. If you didn't want to do this extra colouring, you could just leave it as it was and that would be fine. But I just wanted to add some extra colour in there to make it look like they're on the sand. Okay, good. Now we'll do some sky. We're going to come back in with that colour in a moment on, oh actually, let's do that first before we change colours. May as well keep the same colour going. This time I'm going to use the large brush because I'm using a larger piece. So just ink that up, ink that brush up, and we're going to go all over this piece down the bottom, all along the edge. Now I am already using crumb cake cardstock. So if you wanted to, oops, sorry, that got caught on my watch band. If you wanted to just leave the crumb cake cardstock as it is, that's totally fine. You could leave it just as it is. You don't have to add this extra inked detail. But it does just give it a little bit of highlight, and especially along the edges. Now often too with the torn edges, I will use a sponge dauber just to accentuate them a little bit, but I thought because we're using blending brushes today, I'll just use the blending brushes, but it's just a little bit softer. I'm going to switch over to my small brush and get some more defined detail in there along that torn edge. Because the bigger brush, the more bristles you've got, the sort of the softer it is, so the further it spreads the ink, so it's not as concentrated. Whereas with the smaller head, the ink that you're laying down is going to be in a more concentrated area. So that's why if you're trying to accentuate something, the little brush can be better. So you just have to play around and see what works best for you, depending on what the technique is that you're using, what you're colouring, what you're wanting to highlight. along just that edge again too. See, it's coming up darker now with the small brush. Not sure if that's coming up on camera, it might not, but in real life, IRL, it is coming up a bit darker. All right, and then across here, I'm just gonna add a little bit of extra ink, and across there, because it's sand, it doesn't matter if it doesn't go on evenly, because it's better to have a little bit of, you know, difference there, a little bit of, what would you call it? Texture? Texture. There we go. Okay, so that piece is done. All right, that color is done. So all we need to do now is the sky, and then we can put it all together. I'm just going to do a little bit of blending on the sky and also on the sentiment label. I'm just going to turn my paper around because I've got a lot of brown ink over this side, and I do not want to blend that into my blue. And I tend to blend off to the right hand side because I'm right-handed. So I'm going to, yeah, just use this side now. So this is Balmy Blue, which is great for skies. It's a nice light blue for skies. I'm going to do my label. See how I'm starting my circular motions off the piece that I'm starting, which just removes any excess ink so I don't get that blobbiness. Blobbiness, that's a good technical term, isn't it? And you just keep adding ink as you need to get the depth of color that you want to, because with the blending brushes, it's better to do it that way and keep adding ink rather than go too heavy at the beginning, because then you can't take it away, of course. So, oh, I'm glad that you caught me live too, Lynn. It's lovely to have you here with us. There we go. Okay. All right. So that's our sentiment label done. And now we'll do the sky for our little seagulls. And we're just going to bring that down the sides as well, down to sort of towards where the sand is, so that the sand and the sky are kind of meeting. And I'm using a small brush this time because I want to make sure that I go around the seagull, and I try not to get too much excess ink onto the seagull because I want him to remain white. I don't want to turn him blue. So I've got more control over where the color is going with the small brush. There you go. And it doesn't have to be perfect. This little one, I feel like he's squawking. I've seen some people create this one and they fussy cut the little fish stamp from the stamp set, and they've put a fish in his mouth, and that looks really, really cute as well. But I thought, oh, I've got a lot going on this card already, and that will just take extra time. And I knew that this one would take a little bit of time to put together because there's a lot of different elements, and we're using quite a few different techniques on this card as well, which is always lots of fun, but it just takes a bit longer to demonstrate the different techniques, and as I'm talking with you as well, yeah, to explain what I'm doing. So I thought, no, we won't add any little fishies. Oh, look what I did. I didn't dab it off first, and I didn't start off the page because I'm trying to rush now, and I got a blob. So there you go. That's why I said don't do it that way, because, and I just did what I said not to do. So, oh, that wasn't a very good example, was it? Never mind, it's all right. Maybe it's a cloud in the sky. Let's just say that. I meant to do it because it's just like a distant cloud, you know, over there. So that's okay. That's okay. Pretend that bit's not there. All right, so there we go. So they're all colored up now. Let's just add a little bit more in here. Okay, good. All right. Oh, sometimes you miss because of time zones. Yes, I know. Time zones can get a bit tricky, can't they? What time zone are you in, Lynn? Here we are in Australian Eastern Daylight Time currently because we have daylight savings at the moment. All right, so we've got all of our pieces now ready to go. Oh, I should just quickly fussy cut these little ones. Do we want the extra? I do like the extra little shells. You don't need to add them if you don't want to, but I'll just fussy cut them. They don't take too long. I'll just cut that out there. Oh, you're in Queensland. Oh, okay. So you're just an hour behind us. My daughter lives up there in Queensland on the Gold Coast. Yes, the time zones are always tricky, and when we go up there, it often, when we go to visit her, it often takes me a moment to readjust the time and realize that we are back an hour. And she's adjusted to it quite well, but she's she does miss daylight savings, I have to say. But she's grown up with having it, so it's what she's used to. But she's lived up there for a couple of years now, so she's adjusted well to not having it, but she would prefer it. It's funny, isn't it, that in Australia we have, even on the East Coast, like we have the different time zones. It's weird. I wonder who came up with time zones in the first place. Does anybody know? Not time zones, but, well, yeah, I guess time zones. Like, I guess in the different countries we need different time zones, don't we? Otherwise it would be dark at 10 a.m. in some countries. Then you've got places like Alaska, and isn't it in Alaska they have days where it's light like for 24 hours? Like it's actually light all day and all night. And I'm sure other countries too, like maybe, is it Iceland or other countries over there, overseas? That would be so weird, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? It'd be hard to sleep. But I guess if you're brought up with it, it's what you're used to. All right, so we're just going to fussy cut the little chippies. So the chippies are a little bit harder to fussy cut, just because you've got to get into in between the chips there, or the French fries if you're in America. But don't forget to, we do have the craft knife attachment for the take your pick tool. That you can purchase. It comes in a pack with 2 other tools as well that are separate to the original take your pick tool. So if you have one of those self-healing mats, you could use the craft knife to cut out little intricate pieces like this as well, which is what we used to always do back in the day when I first started card making. We used to do all our fussy cutting, not with snips, but because we didn't really have, oh, there were scissors that had shorter blades, but we tended to use a craft knife for everything. Now I just tend to use my snips for everything. Neighbour, yes, yeah, so you're on the Gold Coast, Lynn? Nice, it's a beautiful part of the world. We love going up there to visit. In fact, we're going back up in March. We'll be up there for a couple of days after On Stage. They'll be going up for Stampin' Up's annual convention that they call On Stage for demonstrators, Stampin' Up demonstrators. And then after On Stage, we're going down to the Gold Coast for a couple of days to spend with my daughter, our daughter, I should say. Oh, come on, glue, come on. There's a lot of glue in here, I can feel it, but it's just not down near the tip. Yeah, so that'll be nice to have a couple of days up there. I love going up there. But it's so humid, isn't it? And she said it's been really hot up there. Ah, Rockhampton. Oh. Actually, my friend's, my friend and has family in Rockhampton too. She often goes up there to visit from Sydney. All right, so we're just gluing our layers on. So we've got that white layer just to give a bit of a frame and a bit of a lift to the scene. We're going to add our torn crumb cake, our sand. We're going to add that on as well, and then we're going to wrap a little bit of linen thread. And the interesting thing is, I was looking for extra linen thread last night because linen thread is one of our most used trims that we have in the craft room. Most used out of any of the ribbons and trims is the linen thread. And I went to use it last night and I thought, where's all the linen thread? Anyway, I found one and I thought, oh, it's late. I'm probably not looking properly. I'll ask Amber in the morning. Amber is my daughter, for anyone who doesn't know. And she helps me in my business. And I asked her this morning and she had a look for me too. And she said, actually, no, there's no more. That's all we've got left. And I'm like, you're kidding. We always have like a couple of packets of it. And we didn't. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it's going on the next order, because yeah, we always have linen thread. Anyway, so hopefully we'll have enough. If not, I think we do, but I've got baker's twine on standby just in case I didn't have enough, but we'll see how we go. All right, so I'm just putting some Stampin' Dimensionals on the back. You can see with my Stampin' Dimensionals, so they are, if you're not familiar with Stampin' Dimensionals, they are our foam adhesive. It's double-sided. So on one side you have the paper protector, which I will remove in a little moment. And on the other side, they're adhered to the base piece, which is like a non-stick surface. I use a fine Sharpie marker to put lines on the back of mine, so that when and sometimes I forget, I realized last night when I was using them and I'm like, oh, I need to get my Sharpie out, so that when I get them onto my pieces, I can actually see where, which ones I've taken the backings off and which ones I haven't. So it makes it much easier. Now I'm using some minis here on my, oh, actually, you know what? I'll start this end. I'm using some minis here on my smaller piece. We've got the dimensionals in the 2 different sizes, but I'm just going to remove that end one again because I've got to wrap my linen thread around there first before I add that, and I think that's going to be in the wrong spot. I forgot about that. All right. So I might just wrap that linen thread first. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? Oh, I've got this extra piece. I had this extra offcut piece. I'm going to use that, one of those, for the label. And I'll use it from the spool for the base card. You see how our little scene is coming together nicely now? All right, so for this one, I'm just going to start it on the back here. Now what you can do is you can either add, you can use tape or you can use a little glue dot to hold it on. So I might just use a little glue dot to start with. Last night I just tied it at the back, but it did make it a little bit bulky. So I think I'm going to use a glue dot this time. Oops. Ah, hang on. Got sticky on my, I've got sticky on my fingers now. I had sticky on my take your pick tool. Let's put the box down, Mandy. All right, pick up the glue dot with your take your pick tool and then pop that down there. There we go. All right, so now I'll add my, well, let's see where I want to start. Where do I want to start it? I want to start it about that far in. So what's that about? I don't know, about 1/2 centimeter-ish. So I'll wrap that around the back and adhere that onto there. Trim off the excess because we don't want that hanging out from behind. That will be not a nice look. And then we're just going to wrap this around a few times. How many times did I go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we're only going to get 6 with this one because it's shorter. Okay, let's spread that out a bit. That's okay. Oh, we're going to get that end bit over. I don't know if that's going to go all the way over. Oh, I don't think that's going to stay. Hang on a minute. Just take it back, take it back, take it back, take it back. And we'll just start that piece down a little bit lower. You come down here. Start down there. And then what I'll do is I'll put some tear and tape over the top of it, I think, just to hold it. Had them sort of spaced out a bit more too. You can do it however you like. You can overlap them if you want to overlap them. Just kind of making it a little bit like rope, just to give, you know, sort of more of an oceany sort of feel. I even want to slide them up a little bit. Slide them up a little bit closer to the sentiment. There we go. And then that last little bit we'll just tuck over, and I'm going to put just grab a glue dot just to hold it for the moment, and I'll grab some tear and tape just to secure that. Just put a little glue dot there. Just hold that there for the minute. There we go. Don't you just love glue dots? They're the best. All right, so that'll be fine. And then, there we go. All right, and I'm just going to run some tear and tape, I think, over that, just to hold that in place so that it doesn't come off. Where's the end? There it is. Okay, cool. So I'll run that down across there and go all the way down to there. Get my sticky glue, my sticky scissors. For a big piece, adhering strands instead of wrapping it all the way around would save linen thread. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, why did I not think of that? Yep, that is a very good idea. Good thinking, 99. Amber is always full of great ideas. All right, so I'm just going to trim that back a little bit so that I've got room to put down my little mini Stampin' Dimensional. So you can pop up the end there. Okay, good. All right. Now, with our large spool of linen thread, we're going to wrap that around, and we're not tying a bow this time. Oh, you know what I did? I meant to tie, oh, that's okay. We're going to do it a bit differently this time. With my other card, I had actually wrapped it around the DSP and the cardstock before I attached it to the white layer, but I forgot about that, and I've already attached it with glue, so it's not going to yeah, it just means we're going to use a little bit extra, which is a pain because I don't have much of this left. Oh, anyway, it is what it is. It's okay, we'll change it up. So we will pop a little bit of tear and tape down here to hold the, where did I just put that then? To hold the twine. I'm just going to do it this way. So we'll do that, snip, and I'm going to do the other side as well that way, and I'm going to remove the backings while I do that, and I'm going to add more over the top to hold it on, and then that way it gives something for the twine to grab onto, but it means that we can reposition it if we need to as well. So I'm going to start it just about there. And we'll wrap that around. And we're just going to go around 3 times. Now, if you wanted to, if you didn't want to waste all of that twine, you could just cut strips and then just lay the strips across so that you're just adhering them each on the ends there. But I'm just doing it the quick way. It does waste a little bit more, but, or not waste, but uses a little bit more. If you're trying to preserve your linen thread like I should be doing right now. Now, just note that that is now sticky because it's got the adhesive there on the back. So just be careful if you put that down. She says, as she's about to put it down, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring out my silicone craft sheet and I'm going to lay it down on there because nothing sticks to the silicone craft sheet. So there you go. Now I'm just going to make sure that I've got that lined up where I want it to make sure that my little seagull panels are going to fit on there before I attach everything permanently, because I've got to make sure that my sentiment also fits on there, and it does, so that's good. Yep, so that's in a good spot there. Feel like it's up a little bit higher on that side, so we can slide that down a little bit. Perfect. Okay, that's in a good spot there. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this panel onto my card front, and I'm going to run some extra tear and tape over the top of that linen thread to hold that down. And I find that that is the best way when you've got a bit of bulk in ribbon or trim wrapped around your card like that. I find that linen thread, I find that tear and tape is the best way to adhere that layer, just because it can also hold that part of the card down where you've got that bit of bulk there, so that it doesn't pop up off the card, sort of at the edges there. I'll show you what I mean when I put it down onto the card base. There we go. Okay. All right, so I'm just using a base of crumb cake. We're going to remove just this top piece first. I'm going to pop this down onto the base, and we're going to line that up before I remove the rest of the adhesive. Just get that nicely lined up. Stick the top, and now we can remove the rest of the adhesive. And I usually like to do, we all have our systems that we like to use, but I like to do the right hand side first, and then I do the bottom and the left hand side. So the top's adhered, the right hand side is adhered. We've got that tear and tape going across this linen thread at the back where it's bulky, so that it holds it down here at the edge and that doesn't pop up there where you've got that thread wrapped around that layer. And then we'll take off the bottom and the left side. There we go. I know it probably looks a bit awkward the way that I do it, but it's the system that I've sort of developed over the years, and it's what works for me. So you do you and work out what works for you and do it the way that you like to do it. And that's just my thing. So there we go. So that doesn't look too bad actually, having it wrapped around that white layer as well. So nobody would even know. All right, so we're going to adhere our sentiment label at the top before we do our little seagulls. And I'm just going to leave that piece of tear and tape there on that twine just to hold that in place, or linen thread I should say, just to hold that there. All right, so we're going to pop that up there like that, get that nice and straight. All right, and let's get rid of this yucky paper. Oh, hang on, we've got our little, where did our other, oh there they are, our other little shells go. Okay, so here's our little, now what were their names? Chip, Cedric and Sammy. Can't remember which, I think this was Cedric, this was Sammy. We're going to line these up. Going to line up the two side ones first, the left and the right one first, according to the sides of the card, and then we can line up the center one. Yep, so that looks about good. All right, so now I'll leave those two in place, and I'm going to adhere the center one first, and we're going to adhere them just above that linen thread. Okay, so line him up in the middle between those two little ones. That looks pretty good. There we go. And we'll line this one up about here. This one up about here. Oh, Amber said, I meant for scenes, strips across rather than one long strand. Ah, okay, yep, got you, for across here. Yeah, that's what I was kind of explaining too. Sorry, I misunderstood you at first, but I think that's what I was explaining anyway. So we were kind of on the same wavelength. There we go. All right, now we just add our little chippies, and then we're going to add some pearls, and we're going to add our shells as well. So we're going to take some mini Stampin' Dimensionals. We're going to just add 2 behind the chippies. Behind the French fries, and we're going to put them over here with Chip, because, you know, he loves the chips. And then with the shells, they are very tiny, so I'm going to use the edge pieces here, and I'm going to cut some very thin strips, and I'm going to use them to adhere the shells. So I think the longer ones probably fit this strip without having to trim it. Yep. And we'll put one over here. So we're just putting the little extra shell, we're just putting straight over the top of the stamped shell on the tag there, just to pop that up, just for a little bit of extra interest. And we'll put this one down here. This one might need a little bit of trimming. Just trim off a little bit of that foam. So we don't want that seen from the front. That will be not looking very nice. And this one's just going to hang off the edge here a little bit. And this little one, which is a little bit tricky because it's teeny tiny, so don't feel that you have to do this one if you don't want to. You can just leave the original stamped image there just on its own, but I am going to add this extra little shell just as an extra little detail. Oh, it's upside down. There we go. And it's just laying on the beach there like that. Okay, and now all we need to do is embellish, and then we are done. So we're going to use, to embellish, we're going to use the iridescent pearls. They do come in different sizes. I got the extra pack out, but I'm using up the mini little tiny ones. They do come in a couple of different sizes on here, but as you can see, I've used a lot of the larger ones, and I'm down to the little tiny ones. So I'll have to get some more of those soon, actually, because I don't think I've got any more new packets of those ones. But we're going to use up this old packet that's just got a few here left. All right, so we're going to add one down here near the shell. We're going to add one over here near these shells. It's got some little pearls on the beach. And then we're going to add some down here. Let's put one here. And we'll put one along here a little bit. And then we'll add an extra one somewhere around about here. You can add them wherever you like on that scene. But there we go. So we've got a scattering of pearls. And of course we've put 5 pearls on there because when you're adding your embellishments, you should always have an odd number, not an even number, because it's more aesthetically pleasing to the eye in the design world, apparently. That's what they tell us. So there you go. So there is our cute little Friendly Seagulls card made with the free Friendly Seagulls stamp set and the free designer series paper, which I keep forgetting the name of. What's it called? It is the Bloom Impressions designer series paper, and that is free with a $100 order. Either of those items are free with a $100 order. Now, if you are looking for any of these products and you're shopping with me, you can go to my online store and you can find that 2 different ways. You can either go to my blog, which is mandyspapercraftcreations.blogspot.com, and click on the shop link there, or you can go to my website mandywitherby.stampinup.net and you can click on the shop link there. This is my February host code, so make sure that you are using that when you're shopping with me in February, and for any orders over $75 you will receive a thank you gift from me for shopping with me, and every order receives a thank you card. So there you go. So what did you think of that little project? Did you like that? It had lots of technique in there, lots of fun, lots of things to learn. If you're unfamiliar with some of those techniques, I hope that that's given you some ideas and some new things to play with. You enjoyed it very much, Lynn. Oh, that's fantastic. I'm so glad to hear that. I've seen some really great projects done with this stamp set, and I was, really excited to play with it actually. Okay, so remember I've got all of my classes coming up as well. We've got Sale-A-Bration happening until the end of the month. We've got end of February, we've got Sale-A-Bration happening, when you can earn those free products with qualifying orders. You can join and get added value, and you can get some of those Stampin Write markers in your starter kit as one of the added bonus products in your starter kit. You can choose 2 of the packs of Stampin Write markers, plus you'll get the free stamp set as well, and $235 worth of product on top of that for only $169. So all of that value is $397. So I would want $286 worth of free product if I wasn't already a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And we would love to have you join our crafting community. So, all right, I'm going to flip the camera. So here we go. Bear with me one moment while I do a little flippity flip, and we'll see how we go. All righty, let's just readjust this. Okay, hang on 2 secs. Okay, I'm still here. Don't go anywhere. Just tightening everything back up and putting my camera back in the stand. It's so annoying. I hope Facebook brings back the mirror, the mirror function, so that we don't have to manually remove the camera and put it back in, because it's annoying having to do that. There we go. And then we've got to adjust everything again. Okay, so these are what I was talking about at the beginning when I forgot to point them out, and I'd already tipped the camera down. But these are my starfish earrings and my starfish brooch, which my starfish brooch hasn't had much wear actually. I've had it for quite a while. It was one of the original ones I got, I think. It was one of the bonus brooches. And I've hardly had the chance to wear this one because it doesn't really go with a lot of clothes that I have. But I thought, well, everything goes with black. So, and it was perfect for today's project. So there you go. So there is our card up close. So you're welcome to take a screenshot of that if you want to case that. Now, all of the measurements of all of the pieces and the instructions and everything will be on my blog tomorrow as part of the Let's Craft Together blog hop, monthly blog hop. So make sure that you go and check that out. It's so nice to meet you as well, Lynn. I'm glad that you found my video today, and it's lovely to have you along. So feel free to join us at any Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time currently, that you are available. That would be lovely to have you with us. All right, now remember, I've got all of my classes coming up as well for any of you that are local that would like to come and join us for classes. We've got next weekend. The registration for next weekend's class closes tonight at 9 o'clock. And I know it's going to be back to front because now the camera is flipped. I've got my card buffet, so that's happening next Saturday. What's it going to be? The 8th of February. So there's that one coming up. And then we've got later in the month, we've got a scrapbooking class using the Everyday You and Me scrapbooking workshop kit. So that's going to be another Saturday class on the 22nd. That's a 4-hour class, that one. It's a bit longer, just so that we can get more of our scrapbooking done. So I'd love to have you come along to that one. And then the third class that I'm holding in February is a Wednesday weekday class. And this is a morning one starting at 10 a.m. And that is going to be creating with ephemera. So if you would love to come along for that, and that one's going to include supplies to make 10 cards, and then you'll have additional supplies to take home as well. So if you want information about any of those classes, I did put the link in the comments. If you have any other questions or there's anything I can help you with, please let me know. I'd love to answer your questions and help you. Where in Sydney are you? Your sister is in Wattle Grove. Okay, I am in Western Sydney out towards Penrith. So I'm not sure where Wattle Grove is. I know there's some other groves out towards Penrith. I think there's Lemon Grove. But I'm not sure where Wattle Grove is. But I'm west of Sydney. So I do have ladies coming to me from different parts of Sydney. Some travel quite a distance, and some are local and closer. But yeah, she'd be most welcome to come and join us if she's not too far away from Western Sydney. Oh, she's in the Liverpool area. I have some other ladies that come to me from over that way. So she would be most welcome to come. So feel free to let her know, and let me know if she needs any links or anything. I'd be happy to give those to you. And yeah, she's welcome anytime to register for my classes. It'd be lovely to have her. All right, and if Lynn, if you're ever visiting her and you would like to come over to some classes as well, feel free to register for those classes as well if ever you're down in Sydney visiting. All right, well, I hope you all have a wonderful week. You're welcome, Lynn. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I hope you all get some crafting in there, and I hope that you felt inspired today by our little project to have a little play around with some of those new techniques and make some really cool cards. And if ever you want to share any of your projects with me, feel free to send me a message. You can do that via my business page. You can see at the top there's a message button. You can send that through to me, and I'd love to see your projects. I love it when people share with me their beautiful projects that they're making too. All right, well, I will leave it there. Have a great day, everyone. I'm going to go and have some of my beautiful peach and pineapple jam on some rice cakes with a cup of tea. I know it's coming up to dinner time for most of you, but we eat pretty late. My husband gets home late some days from work. So yeah, gonna go and have that, have a cup of tea, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the evening. Have a great rest of the week, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you all again next Monday at 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Bye, everyone. Happy crafting. See you soon.